stream button, so we are public and live. And thank you guys for joining us. Hi, Pop. Hi, Jim. Good to see you guys. We were just given a COVID update in our certain situations. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott.
I hope everybody's good out there. We were just talking about the COVID situation and speculating on whether we'll have in-person meetings again. Is Bill getting disconnected again there, Cheryl?
It looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like he's having some technical problems. Hey, Linda, we're just getting started. I've already started recording and streaming, so we're public. If you have anything private to say, save it.
It looks like there's more people in San Carlos today.
Yeah, who all's in San Carlos right now?
We are.
Jim is. I can tell by the decor of your ceiling.
Hi, Jude.
Judy's here. Anyone else in San Carlos right now besides me?
I am. Linda and I got down here Sunday.
On Sunday.
I beat you by a day Saturday.
So what's your feeling, Jim? Are we going to have in-person meetings sometime soon?
I wouldn't be there. I'm not ready to be inside anywhere.
Not inside.
We're afraid of you, Scott.
You're afraid of me. Yeah. I scare myself too.
And Scott, my question was, were we going back to Tuesday meetings, not in person? Because I'm outside dining. I will not eat inside a restaurant right now.
Okay, I
Me
misunderstood your question. And yeah, I think that's
Me too.
we can discuss whether Saturday mornings is still the correct time to do this or not. It seems like the reason we chose this time when we started doing virtual meetings is because my kids were in school and we did not have enough bandwidth for me to participate.
Exactly.
And now I have enough bandwidth that I can basically participate at any time. I'm sure that my wife right now is watching the news in full HD on our TV.
Wow.
Judy, what was it that you were going to say?
Saturday with me.
I said Tuesday works better for me. Saturdays doesn't work very well for me.
Ah, okay.
I like Tuesday.
Linda, say again.
Scott,
Linda,
Yeah, because sometimes I like to go to sales on Saturday. Like yesterday, we went to sale at 6:15.
Oh, yuck.
Woo.
Becky and I went to about 6 sales yesterday.
wait, is it me? I'm getting a lot of breakup from Linda. Are you guys hearing her okay?
sounds good to me.
I
can
I'm
hear her
hearing her.
okay.
Oh wow, I have got something going on here. Weird.
Scott, I wanted to ask those folks that had gone to San Carlos this fall. Did you have any problems going into Mexico?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely not. Nothing. No
Good to
problems.
hear.
Didn't ask
to
you
hear.
any questions.
They didn't even talk to me. They waved me. I got the green light. They waved me through.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really been the story.
But the border is only open from 8 to 8. It is not opening at 6 a.m.
You have to go
You
through
know,
downtown.
Come to
Right.
think about it, we did get a red light and we had to stop. And the gentleman asked us to open up the back end of the car and 3 items fell out. And he just looked at Linda and said, go ahead.
Dad's got a funny story about the same experience. Was that you were
You have to
chasing?
remind me.
Oh yeah, you had the same experience. You pulled in for a red light, and they immediately opened the back of the van without asking permission, and 24 cases of soda exploded and rolled all over the. And there were
Hey,
border guards running around, asking for help from their friends, running around, collecting these cans and trying to get them all together and get them back into the car and shut the door and just told Dad to go.
Oh my goodness.
I always thought, what a great like booby trap. If you had stuff, you got big flat screen TV in there, just put 12-pack up against the door so when it opens, it just falls apart on you. Or a 24-pack.
I understand people just do that with their dogs. Their dogs go crazy enough that they just get out of here, even if they're little, like Boo.
Yeah.
Well, when we went up the highway on Thursday and we got to the military checkpoint
Yes.
coming north, they told us to go over, like for inspection. And I went, oh my God, I am not unloading this whole car. It was loaded to the top. And so we sat there for a couple minutes, and then the guy waved us through and didn't look inside the car at all.
Excellent.
The best thing is to have a box of donuts in the back of your car. When they open it, you give each one a donut. And if they don't open it, you just eat them all when you get to San Carlos.
Yeah. I remember back in the day that was always Debbie's trick, was to have a big box of donuts and a pizza and just be very, very ready to just share with anyone that she ends up having a conversation with.
Was we got pulled over at the military there. They asked us in Espanol where we had come from, or maybe he was speaking English, but we didn't understand. Where do you come from? We said Canada, and obviously we were heading north, and we haven't just come from Canada. We'd come from San Carlos. Anyway, so next thing we know, we're told to go over, and our truck has the motorbike in the back, and the back seat is so full, like it's just totally packed. And they told us to bring a suitcase, to bring our suitcases over to be x-rayed. So we pull out one suitcase, Bill takes it over, puts it on the thing, and it's being x-rayed. He comes back to get more, and the guys just wanted to talk to him about the bike. So he stood there and he talked about the bike, and is that a Harley? No, it's not a Harley. So they basically wanted to see it. So we never did have to put any more suitcases on. We had one bag x-rayed, and it wasn't the one with all of the stuff that they probably should have found. But yeah.
This is really the example of security theater. Yeah. That's really what's going on there. They know that you're not somebody they have to worry about. So show us the motorcycle.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's visit.
So I wanted to mention something that really surprised Sandy and I. We jumped through all the hoops to get one of those GOES passes so we could, I can't remember what you call it down there, but go through the fast gate and so forth. And I swear all that did was get us into more trouble. We pulled up there one time after waiting a long time, and I handed them both our passport and the GOES. And I thought we were just going to fly through. Instead, the guy just sent us in, so we were going to be searched, and we had to be searched so thoroughly, it was just absurd.
Wow.
And so as a result, we don't even try to pull that pass out anymore. It's just gotten us into more trouble.
Whoa.
That
No
was supposed
kidding.
to make it easier. Is anybody else using that pass? Hello, Maggie. Now that Maggie's joined us, let me say welcome to the San Carlos Computer Club. I am Scott Stimson with International Computer Solutions. I'm here to help answer questions, kind of, organize this conversation, and typically bring topics of which I'm not abundant in this morning, and I'm hoping you folks may have brought some of your own topics. We've been talking so far about COVID and border crossings and our different unique perspectives and stories. And I'm very happy that all of you have showed up today. We're at 8 people so far.
What was Terry talking about? I'm sorry.
Say that again, Maggie?
The Century Pass.
Which one?
The Century Pass, the one that's supposed to allow you to go across the border quickly. Are you familiar with it?
And he had trouble with it crossing into the. Yes, I have one.
So, Dad, you were just
I didn't hear your whole story, but apparently it didn't work for you. Coming into the U.S. from Mexico or Canada?
No, it's when we were leaving Mexico, going back into the United States. And we weren't able to do the Sentry at that time, or we just chose not to. And we thought we would be able to expedite ourselves and going over, just going through the standard route. But I was just saying that, on the contrary, we ended up being searched more thoroughly than we ever had been before. And, we had no reason for them to even have any concern like that. They just handed them the passport and the goes and assumed that it would expedite things. And we just learned not to even pull that thing out. So we didn't use it at Senry. We never have found ourselves in a position where we could do that. We've always got somebody with us that doesn't have the
pass.
The goes pass or something like that.
Hey, I'm
That is
going to
interesting.
disconnect and reconnect, so I'll be right back. I think I'm having a problem with this meet on my computer. All right, let's try
Never
that
had
again.
trouble, but when did you go through that you had this problem?
I'm back.
Well, it would have been probably around Thanksgiving time last year, or between Thanksgiving and Christmas when we were headed back to Arizona.
I think sometimes you just get cranky people at that gate. And I got scolded once because I had a list of what was in my cooler and I forgot to mention one item. I lit into me for that. And of course I had to sit there biting my tongue because I had a lot of responses for him, but I've never had that happen before or since. Just one item wasn't on my list.
This
that
is the
wasn't the
stuff you're declaring?
Lane, though.
Sounds
That
like
was
you're
just a
too
regular
organized.
lane.
Yeah, you're definitely too organized. You don't want to give them a list they can check.
Did I put you all to sleep?
Is Maggie coming in choppy with you guys, or is that just me? It's
Very choppy.
No,
Choppy.
she can't understand.
And Jim, you're really quiet now.
Oh, really? How about, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you
Well, I
now.
always
Yes.
have a list, and I
Yes.
I have two columns, and one says purchased in the U.S.
Wow, I think Maggie just disappeared from me. Oh, there she
So,
is.
I
can't?
I have a topic.
Yes, Judy. Let's bring a topic in here,
I have
and
a
let's
topic.
be very careful to
Let's
take
try.
turns because there seems to be a delay
Yes.
just in general. What's going on here? Can we?
I don't know.
Can
I
you hear
don't
me
know
any
either.
better?
Yeah. But it's
No.
actually it's a choppiness that I'm feeling in the meeting, and I'm wondering if other people are feeling it as well. I'm feeling like every person in the meeting has a slight delay between their video and their audio. I don't know if you guys are having that experience. Are you having that experience
say
with
yes.
me?
Well, you're not sounding that way, Scott.
I'm not. But what I'm getting from
What I notice is that
Go ahead, Cheryl.
There is definitely a delay, and what's happening is people are talking, and then somebody else starts talking, and then the other one starts coming back. Like we're talking over each other, it seems. And Scott, you said we have to one at a time. That's right. Judy has a topic, and I'm hoping she's going to be able to say it. Maggie's video keeps breaking up, and so does Scott's.
And Cheryl,
Okay.
when you talk, I see your lips, and then later I'm hearing the audio. I don't know if other people are having that experience. So yeah, Judy, bring up your
Yes,
topic,
same experience.
and let's all just mute our microphones so we're not talking
So
on top of each other.
I have my Roku down here, and I was somehow under the impression that because I set it up in the US and it worked perfectly, that when I went to Netflix through Roku, I would get my US Netflix, which is not true. I cannot get Hell on Wheels.
You're right. That won't work. You would need to have a VPN to be able to get the US or that smart DNS proxy, which people are very happy with, to access your Netflix as available in the United States.
So what I'm looking for is another source for Hell on Wheels.
Okay, well, there's that website that we've talked about before called Just Watch. I'm actually bringing it up as I'm mentioning it. Just Watch, and you can search Just Watch for content you're looking for. I've got the app on a mobile device, and under the mobile device, I'm able to set which services I already have access to. Hell on Wheels. Inferno sobre ruedas. That is a direct translation of the title. And where is it available?
There it is.
Yeah. Oops, couldn't find
Scott,
any
did you
streaming.
say Just Watch the website?
Yes, justwatch.com is what I'm on right now. It's location aware. It's aware that I'm in Mexico, and so it's supposed to be showing me Mexican locations that you're available to stream this content from, and it says can't find any streaming offerings.
Can you put it on present mode so we could read that?
Oh yeah, hold on, let me do that. Boy, I really feel like our meeting experience is in these waves of good and bad quality. My screen. This screen here. There we go. Give it a second. So this is the website Just Watch, and the whole concept of this is that, and I'm hoping you guys are seeing this okay.
Yes.
The whole concept of this is finding where something is streaming. Now, Hell on Wheels has resulted in... No, go away. A comment here by Just Watch saying, oops, we can't find any streaming offers. Now, you might try this in your location and find that you do see streaming offers because it's aware you're in the States or you're in Canada. But it's aware I'm in Mexico, and it's saying it can't find a place for me to watch this.
Okay.
Let me compare and contrast that to something I know is available in Mexico. Because I think we had... Oh. I wonder if one of these are my previously searched stuff. Let's look at Justified. There it goes. It shows that I could watch that on Amazon Prime. That's the best price filter. You can filter by standard definition, high definition, and 4K. Apparently there's no Justified in 4K in Mexico. And this is new, actually. I hadn't seen this before. They've got a location selector. I did not see that on the website before, so I could set it to another country and see what's available in that other country. That's great. I did not realize that was available. You can watch Justified on Hulu in 4K in the United States. And it has a number of places you can buy it. Amazon, Google Play, Fandango, Vudu, Apple TV, Redbox, Microsoft Store. That's
Great.
it. Yeah. Streaming, Hulu. Now, isn't that interesting? You cannot stream it using Prime, but apparently it's licensed for Mexico to stream it with your Prime account. That's good to know in my whole my Prime experience with shipping and where the value is in having two different Prime accounts. That adds to the two different Prime accounts. Here we can watch it on Prime Video in Mexico. You can't do that in the United States. So let's go back to Hell on Wheels, which I'm going to say, have you checked Streamio on Wheels?
I did, and I couldn't find it.
And it doesn't show us any place to watch it. And look at that. It doesn't allow us to change the country location from here. Because there's no result in Mexico, there's no result to change to another country. I wonder if I go to, I'm going back to Justify. This is where there's some results in Mexico. I'm going to switch it to US from here. And I'm looking at justified results in the United States. And now what if I search for Hell on Wheels? There it shows the US result. So that looks like a website navigation issue. And you're right, it's available on Netflix as well as Apple TV, Amazon. To buy Amazon, Google Play, Vudu, Fandango, or streaming on Prime Video in the United States. That's interesting that it would be available in the United States both on Amazon and on Netflix.
That's a different Hell on Wheels that you can stream on Prime Video.
Oh, thank you. You're absolutely right. I'm looking at something different.
You can only stream it on Netflix in the U.S.
Yep, you're right. We're looking at all these results in the same place for some reason. Maybe there was only one Hell on Wheels to choose from in Mexico, but now there's a dozen. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So yeah, you can buy it on Amazon or you can stream it on Netflix. It's not available in 4K. However, it's available on Netflix in high definition. 5 seasons. And that's using the Just Watch website.
And you're not signed in.
I'm not signed in. No, I try to use as many of these services without having to sign in as possible. I just like the Streamio. I don't like to sign in. Streamio offers you an account. They'll track what you're doing. Maybe at some point. It took me a long time to become comfortable with using track.tv. Because it definitely, it has little fingers, tendrils into the programs that I use intentionally to tell me I'm currently on, what movies that I've put on my watch list. And so it took me a long time to feel comfortable with that. But what has happened in all this is the legislation has penalized the players making this stuff available on the internet, not the people that are consuming it. And so they've become very laxed about, we haven't had any kind of legalities with consuming these contents. It's really been coming after the people that are making it available. I've just brought up, if you guys are following along with me, I've just brought up Streamio on Windows 10. And it tells me that I've got an older version. You can see that down here in this green bar. Relaunch now. I'm not going to relaunch it now because relaunching it now might turn into an installation procedure, and I don't want to deal with that right now. Hell on wheels. I'm a little gun shy from doing any dramatic changes while we're in the middle of a meeting. As I was getting ready for the meeting, I decided to associate my computer with a Microsoft account to try one of the topics that I had for a computer club meeting, which was synchronizing your clipboard. Look at that. I don't see it showing up. Have I done something wrong? Hell on Wheels movies. Oh, that's it right there. It's just got a cover on it that I didn't recognize. 5 seasons on Streamio. Looks like it's available. I'm not going to start any of these because you guys don't know what happened. When we did the Streamio demo, I've been flagged on YouTube for copyright violations. I've had sections of our meeting muted out. I've had to remove little sections of video where I let something play. I don't know how. You look at these YouTubers. This is funny. I'm talking to the camera, and you guys, I don't know if you can't actually see me, can you? I don't know how these YouTubers pull down a video and then talk on top of it and make that their YouTube video, because anytime I try and do something like that, YouTube's like, you've done it wrong, and we're going to penalize you and take away your YouTube account if you keep doing this. So I'm not going to start any of these, but it looks like it's amply available using an app like Streamio. This presentation looks different on a Fire Stick or an Android TV or a mobile device than it does a Windows 10 computer. You actually have a lot more features in a Windows 10 computer. But this premise still holds. You search for content you're looking for, and you bring up, in this case it's a series, so we've got by season. We choose an episode we want to watch, and then your plugins load all your opportunities to watch that content. How disappointing to see that it's not available in Mexico for streaming. It really encourages you to do things like get a VPN into the United States so that you can watch the content. Have you noticed how blatant the VPN advertisements are now for using Netflix and these services from different countries? I don't know if you've noticed. I've noticed like ExpressVPN and NordVPN have some very aggressive sales pitches saying watch your content in any country or from any country. Watch your anime from Japan using ExpressVPN. Watch the BBC player from... Well, actually, I think that's a bad example because I think you still need to be licensed in Britain to watch content. I think you pay a tax, actually. But Canada has their own player. I don't know if Cheryl can comment on that. Are you using a player with what is it? It's CBC, right? That has their...
Well,
go ahead, Cheryl. Talk to me.
you mean what are we watching TV on?
Well, it seems like doesn't Canada have a broadcast network in your country that creates their own shows as well as hosting shows like Hollywood shows, and they make them available to you as Canadians throughout Canada. I'm trying to remember what service it is. There's a service, and it affects music too. There's and you guys have a tax that you pay as part of your. I know I'm not wrong on this. Maybe it's changed, but but there's a tax associated with your internet service provider, your ISP, that allows you to have access to all these things as long as you reside in Canada. You can watch streaming TV.
Canadian Broadcasting System, or Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, is our CBC network. And they have TV, radio, and but it's not like the same as public television in the States, which we often get on our cable and everything. And that is paid for by donations and stuff.
Well, I'm thinking more like the CBC has a website where you can go and watch the shows that they host, and you can see live TV, and it works throughout Canada. As soon as you leave Canada, it's no longer available.
Well, we have our cable system, and I can watch CBC through that.
Sure. But I'm thinking of a web service. And I know BBC, I should just switch my topic to England, because BBC has their own service that's available throughout England, that you're able to watch all the shows that they create and host, and you can stream live TV. It's all done for free because you're I think a United Kingdom citizen. I think that's what makes it free to you, is because you reside in that country and you're a citizen. But you also, the difference in my mind is that you have to pay a tax in Britain. They actually, I mean, you're not allowed to use internet unless you pay the tax. You're not allowed to watch TV unless you pay the tax. They actually have an enforcement division that goes out to make sure you've paid your TV tax and fine you if you're using a TV without having paid the tax. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah, it's kind of like paying your cable bill is the way the tax works.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you for contributing. It's good to see you. But go ahead.
Initially, when you bought your TV set back in the old days, you go buy your TV set and you had to pay a tax, and then yearly you got a tax bill for your television. And then to head off cable companies and stuff, they said, well, we're just going to do it like a cable bill.
Well,
so everybody pays a monthly bill, pay for their TV. If you don't pay your bill, a nice government guy comes to the door, knocks on your door, and says, hey, we're taking your TV.
Yeah, I'm not certain about the logistics, how it breaks down, but I remember that they had trucks that would run around neighborhoods and look for people getting TV signals and fine them if they hadn't paid their TV tax.
Yeah, that's how they used to do it. Now it's all as it comes through the wall on the cable. They just shut you off. If they catch you pirating, they come take your TV.
So what this all comes back down to is that they started broadcasting and streaming TV online, and they applied the same type of tax scheme to that content. And so you'd have access to it only if your taxes were you had to be a UK citizen and your TV tax had to be up to date for you to have access to it. And I'm wondering, the BBC Player, it used to be called an iPlayer. I wonder if that app doesn't work unless you have a valid tax ID number. But this is all speculation. We have nobody from the BBC. We only have the history that Sid and I remember. Anyway, we were talking about streaming, Just Watch. Oh, on that note, I wonder if you use you guys should test it out for us, Cheryl. You should test out Just Watch in Canada and see if any of the programming on CBC shows up as available for streaming in your country. It would never show up outside of Canada because it's the CBC. But it may show up on Just Watch as one of your streaming options.
Is that sort of like a homework assignment?
Yes. Yes. You'll be graded later. There'll be a quiz on this later.
You got to ask yourself one simple question, Scott.
Yes.
Do I give a shit?
Well, I understand. That's not if I give a shit. It's whether you give a shit.
And that's exactly what I asked.
Is isolation getting to you, Bill?
Well, here's my complaint. Jimmy Cunningham sitting there in a t-shirt cutoff. I'm sitting here in my poncho, looking out at my snow-covered grass, and I'm not happy.
And Bill is not a TV watcher. He watches news and he'll stream a movie and stuff, but he's not a TV channel watcher.
Right. Will you watch series, Bill? Will you pick out a series and watch that?
Once in a while, but I usually lose interest after about the third or fourth show. I've been watching, I tried Utopia, and I tried, what the hell's that other one? Where they're in the town in the desert, like Area 51 type town.
Stop it, Judy. You are a cruel and inhumane person.
I wasn't even watching. Oh, Judy's outside showing her view.
Calm down.
That's just mean.
Well, you goddamn Americans get control of your COVID, and we might be able to get there.
Scary, isn't it?
Either that or everybody pitch in and we'll buy a jet. We can charter our own jet. It's called what is it? A flex plan or a shared flight. If everybody pitches in $1,000 in San Carlos, we could have a Canadian jet that brings us back and forth.
Yeah, that's what you need. Private airlines.
It's snowing in Alaska.
To Canada.
I'm sorry, Pop, you were saying something, and then Sid.
It's snowing in Alaska, so we'd be real interested in that flight you're talking about.
I'm sure we can make that work.
Sid, what were you going to contribute? Oh, okay. Well, to my Canadian and Alaskan-based friends, I just turned the air conditioner on right before this meeting started.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, Judy.
I'm using my dehumidifier setting, and it works very well.
You know, we do that a lot with our air conditioners, too. And we've recently opened up our roof for extra expanding the house, so we have more areas to have activities outside.
Nice.
And one of the side effects of being up on the roof is you become very aware of how often the air conditioner is getting used.
Right.
You get to hear that rumble and fans going. And we've watched as the temperature has changed and those machines have gone off. And so we've got basically fans down in the house whenever those machines have turned off. And I think that dehumidifying really helps lessen the burden of the air conditioner.
Right. In fact, at night, I'm able to totally turn off the mini split and just use a fan.
Yes, yeah. Hey, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but all of a sudden within the last 10 minutes, our meeting has gotten into a much higher quality experience.
Mm-hmm.
Or I might have just jinxed it.
So, Scott, you haven't asked the question, what are we watching or whatever, and I have a couple of things that I was
you've got an answer for me. All right, well, who has got recommendations for TV, music, books, audiobooks, or websites? Cheryl, go ahead.
I got into a series, I think I'm watching it on Netflix, but it's called Bloodline, and it's a family down in the Keys. Florida Keys, and it's a lot about smuggling of people and drugs and the different businesses. But the family owns a resort in the Keys, and a lot of family drama, a lot of pretty yucky things going on. But it's a really interesting one, and it's grabbed my attention this week. The other thing was I've been trying to get Yellowstone because you guys have mentioned it. So I'm going to defer here to Bill because he got a Fire Stick. And so I finally got to watch my first part of Yellowstone yesterday. And the buffering is extremely frustrating. I was like an hour into the pilot, which is an hour and a half long, and it just sat there and I could watch a little bit and then it would buffer. And so it's been frustrating. So I'm just getting into Yellowstone, but I got to find a better source.
So is this the first time you've been streaming TV shows? Is with this Fire Stick you got? Do you normally just watch them on regular cable?
I usually watch Netflix on our Roku TV.
And that doesn't have any problems?
No. And Amazon Prime, I've been watching that. But Yellowstone is the first one that I haven't been able to get in either Netflix or Prime.
So what's the buffering you're referring to then? That's
the Fire Stick is buffering.
But are you using, like Yellowstone, are you watching it on Netflix or Prime? And it's
Streamio.
Oh, on Streamio. Okay. Streamio. You know, what I do with Streamio is I switch to another source. So I just give up if it's buffering and go to another source and try that source. And so it might be time consuming. It might take a moment for it to buffer up because it's a completely new source. If you're following me. I'm sorry, I made the mistake of looking at what I'm producing and it looks different than what I got to stop looking at all this stuff. It sidetracks me. When I'm using Streamio, you click on the content, you click on the episode, it shows you all your plugin sources. You pick one, you let it start. It's kind of a buffering, right? It shows you the content's title, or it's the name of it. In this case, it would say Yellowstone, like a logo, and it would fill up the logo with color, and then it would start the presentation. And if that presentation begins buffering, then I'd immediately back out of it and I go on to the next source that's available on that list. And I would just keep going until I found one that wasn't buffering. So that's kind of the price you pay for using Streamio, is sometimes it's perfect and sometimes it's not.
So if you find one that's not buffering, does it continue all the way through this thing without buffering? Because it was going really well.
Sometimes. I personally, the way I imagine it.
I just watched one that went all the way through.
Most of the time I have really good experiences. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I find some content where I get halfway through and then it starts buffering. The problem with buffering is you really don't know where the problem is. It could be your internet that's the problem. It could be your internet provider that's the problem. It could be way down the line getting to that server that you're using. Or it could be the server you're on. What I see with Streamio is that many times it will show you a number that's supposed to represent the availability. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have a problem. Sometimes I see availability of 150 different copies of that same content, and that should indicate that it's very available. But it starts buffering, and I start moving through that list, and I find one that has 20 or 19 or even 6 availability. And I find I had a better experience with that 6 than I did with the 150 that showed up on the other one. So I can't put a rhyme or reason to it, but what I can say is that the behavior that you adopt is it's buffering, switch to another source. Buffering, switch to another source until you get a source that's going to continue it. And I have to say, Cheryl, I've had some obscure stuff that my wife and I have been wanting to watch that it comes up, it shows sources, we click on it, can't get anything but buffering. I don't believe Yellowstone should be, because Yellowstone's not obscure. There should be ample availability out there, legitimate or whatnot. So I would suspect that if you kept changing your sources, you'd eventually find one that would provide you with a good experience. Ooh, somebody's got stuff coming through the speakers here.
I'm sorry. I just went to watch or just watch, and I found Yellowstone. So I don't really understand what it did, but it started playing. So that was
I'm switching just watch to Yellowstone in Canada to see what your options are for streaming it.
Well, it says videos, trailers, teasers, featurettes.
It looks like you can buy it on HD or on Google Play in HD or standard definition.
2 seasons available HD Google Play to buy.
Yeah.
And it's filtered by the best price. And then if I go down, people who liked, so that's the one place that you can buy it. You can only buy 2 seasons, and it's from Google Play. Okay.
Now you said you have a Netflix account.
Yes, but it's not on Netflix.
Well, it's not on Netflix in Canada. But maybe it's on Netflix. I'm looking for, there's Mexico. Let's see if it's in Mexico. I'm switching the country. I'm still on the Just Watch website.
Well, I asked Jim Cunningham, and he told me Streamio. So
it's not in Mexico. I got an. Oops, there's nothing here in Mexico for it. Oh, I'm trying to get back to where I can switch. So I wonder if it's available in the United States, because your Netflix account gives you access to Netflix in whichever country you happen to be in. Digitally. In whatever country you happen to be in digitally. Probably a good way to put it. In the United States, there are 3 seasons to buy on. You know where it is? It's on Peacock. Peacock.
Exactly.
Is a free service now in the United States. I think it's ad supported. It's the NBC offering for streaming in the United States.
But there's also a Paramount app. It says, I found that we should be able to watch Yellowstone on Roku with the Paramount app for free. I'm just reading, I just searched for it, so.
Just Watch is saying that it's only 1 season. 1 season on Paramount, DirecTV, 1 season on Peacock, 2 seasons on Peacock Premium, because that's the reason you're going to pay monthly for a free service, is they've got the 2nd season of Yellowstone. 3 seasons on Sling. If you're a Sling user right now, you can watch 3 seasons of it. This seems to be a hard show to source. How many? I guess there's 4 seasons.
That's because the current show, it's a current show.
Is that what it is, you think?
I think
2018, it says, was the first season.
right, but they just put a new season out now. I thought
Yeah.
maybe. Anyway,
It's all your fault, guys, because you're the ones that told me. I think
Well, I would adopt that behavior. Hello, Stanley.
I just tuned in. I had to get through my tours. What series are you talking about? That's 3 or 4 seasons.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. I'm going to check my. I'm going to check
Your
mine,
source and see if it's available.
Yeah.
Stanley, there's a lot of static coming across your mic. I'm just going to mute it for the moment. What I would do is I would adopt those habits with Streamio. Just know that at any moment you might switch sources. And there are different reasons for buffering. One could be that you don't have enough bandwidth for the quality of content you're downloading. So if you're seeing that you're trying to download a 4K or a 1080, you might choose to go to a lower quality, like a 720 or a standard definition. And those are kind of nuanced in the Streamio plugins. Each plugin displays that a little different, and you might even have to read the file name that the plugin is presenting to you to know if it's standard definition, 720, or 1080. But you might use that in your thinking as well, as maybe your bandwidth is limited for some reason at that moment. What I can say about Netflix versus Streamio is Netflix does this beautiful job of grading, changing that grade of quality down and up on the fly as your internet's fading in and out, or people are using the internet for more weight and they start adding more things that they're doing. Maybe somebody's streaming something in the other room. And Netflix has just got the algorithm. I think Prime has finally got the algorithm too. It's amazing if you're aware of it and you're watching. Your show won't stop, but maybe it'll start getting blurry, and it'll come back into crisp, but nothing stops. You just keep moving, and Streamio just cannot give you that experience. And so you might be flying great, looking at beautiful quality, and all of a sudden you've got this horrible buffering, and that might be related just to your internet connection. And if you back off and try a lower quality program, you'll have a better experience. I also really think that some of these sites that are making this quality, what am I trying to say? Making this content available, I think they get saturated by people like us doing the same thing. And so you could be having this great experience and a bunch of users have jumped onto that same server, and now it's gotten saturated and can't provide you with that content. Again, this is not Netflix. There isn't a server right around the corner of your ISP providing you with this. There's some server in some foreign country providing you with this. And if that gets saturated, there's no backup. And so again, just switching plugins, switching providers, sources could rectify that problem for you. You're literally getting it from a completely different place. In Netflix, you're getting it from a completely different place, but that completely different place is still Netflix. And so they're handling all those handoffs. Whereas in a program like Streamio, you're having to make those decisions for yourself. So that's a whole bunch of talk on a impromptu topic. Have we got any other questions or topics we'd like to get into? Has anybody been paying attention to the Justice Department's case against Google? Jim, I see you tried to speak for a moment there, but you're muted, so we didn't hear anything.
I was just saying, yeah, I've been kind of intrigued with the whole idea, following it a bit. I'm anxious to see what happens. If it was any other time, I would be really interested in the Justice Department getting involved. Under this administration, you never know whether it's real or simply political.
Well, you know, one of the things that I'm concerned about is the Section 230.
Yes.
And just the lack of understanding from our politicians. From what I've been able to determine from my research, it seems like both Biden and Trump's administration have the exact same attitude towards this section of this anti-piracy law, this 230 law. And it seems to be misconstrued and could really hurt businesses and consumers alike. I don't know if you're up to date on what Section 230, what that means when we say Section 230. But in a nutshell, that's really what has allowed the internet to become what it is. It's what allows Facebook, Twitter, it allows these large platforms to be places where we're communicating. Section 230 is what allows us to have this Google Meet without Google being responsible for what we do in the meet. If Section 230 didn't exist, then Google could be held responsible for us organizing a Nazi rally using their software. Yeah. I only bring up Nazi because I'm seeing if anybody's falling asleep out there. So I'm really curious what's going to happen with this. We've been waiting for this to happen. The Section 230 is what I think we need to pay attention to. It's gotten thrown in with all this anti-competitive stuff, this monopolistic charges that they're bringing against Google and Facebook and Apple. What else is out there? It seems like there was a fourth one there. Amazon, of course, Amazon. They haven't, I don't know if you've noticed, but they haven't brought any proceedings against Microsoft. I think they snubbed Microsoft. They actually refer to these proceedings using the same rules that the Justice Department did with Microsoft back in the day. And they're looking at the same solutions, breaking up these companies. But what's getting filed away in all this is the 230 stuff. And the concern is they want to repeal 230. There's this call. And what's interesting is this call comes from both sides of our political system in the United States, which is only an example of how little they really understand what they're saying. 230 is really what allows Trump to go out on Twitter and say whatever he wants. If Twitter was to be held liable for what the president says, they would stop letting him say it. But what he's saying, 230 is what's allowed him to go out on Twitter and say, repeal 230. That's the irony of where we are right now. If he had his wish, he wouldn't be able to say anything because he says such liable, such slanderous things that Twitter as an organization couldn't handle being held liable for his discourse, so they would be blocking him all the time. 230 is that piece of legislation that allows what is published on a platform to be looked at separately than the platform itself. It's what allows Facebook to exist in a manner that's not a publisher. It's not the New York Times. So it's not liable for what gets said on their platform. And it still has been amended to allow them the ability to manicure what's said on their platform, so it can police itself for things like child abuse, hate speech, without being condemned for affecting free speech. 230 is what allows them to not be held liable for what people say, but still allows them to ferret out the things that they don't want to see on their platform. So out of all the things that are going to happen during this justice, what do you call this? This inquiry. Is it a case that they've brought against them? I'm not a legal. Go ahead, Jim.
They filed a case, didn't they?
That's what I understand. I don't understand the language that's involved in even talking about this topic, so I apologize. I am definitely a novice when it comes to the legal side of things in this world. If anybody has a legal opinion on this, it would be really cool to hear, because I wouldn't even begin to put the words together correctly. But I think that as general populace, as we're watching this go down, keep an eye out on the term 230, because it is absolutely the thing that we don't want to see abolished. It's what has made it possible for us to have a computer club website. And and Cheryl doesn't get held liable. Or no, I'm sorry, I don't get held liable for what Cheryl says. They can't shut down the Computer Club website just because you said something silly in one of our meetings.
Yeah, but the sad part is I might be liable for what she said.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and we hold you responsible all the time, Bill.
And there we are, last week's topic where somebody was going to search my name and find out what it was that I did.
Oh, I forgot. I got to write it down. I forgot what Cheryl's hiding from the police, I think.
No,
She was a bad person.
I was
Reputation defender.
Say that again?
Reputation defender. Have you seen that? They advertise on TV all the time.
Reputation defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody slandered you, you hired these guys and they help you clean up your good name.
Yeah.
Is that right, Linda?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, their client list is a long and sleazy line. The company has been accused of having absolutely no morals to defend and clean up the record of anybody. Hell, they work for Rush Limbaugh.
Sleaze
Yeah,
cleaners. That's awesome. I don't imagine anyone except Cheryl has an opportunity to use one of these services.
No, I don't need to go that far. But wasn't there a TV show, Washington Scandal or something, and she was a fixer? She would cover up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kerry Washington.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the show? Kerry Washington?
No.
Never heard of it.
Scandal.
The actress.
Oh, Scandal.
Scandal. Yeah.
That show was the best.
It was
I
pretty
enjoyed it.
good time. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to add it to the recommended list. I've seen the commercials for it, but I've never watched it.
So, Scott, I got a question.
Yes, Bill, go ahead.
Part of my frustration with over the last week is dealing with this Fire Stick, is dealing with the fact that you have this one little remote and you got to go through the alphabet for a keyboard.
Yep.
So I have downloaded the app on my iPhone, and it does have a little keyboard on there, but the relationship between it and the Fire Stick is not great. My question is, can you put a Bluetooth keyboard, hook it up to the Fire Stick?
Yes, absolutely.
You need an adapter though, so a splitter.
Well, you're talking about a USB dongled keyboard, but Bill was just asking about a Bluetooth keyboard, and you don't need anything for a Bluetooth keyboard.
Oh.
Now, in my experience,
I got a little Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, what all I was going to add was that with my keyboards, I use that K830 Bluetooth keyboard from Logitech that I really, really like, and I've probably recommended it before. It's a smart TV keyboard. One of the things that I love about it is it's an illuminated keyboard. It has a trackpad built into it. Absolutely my favorite keyboard. Typically sells for somewhere between $50 to $80, depending on whether it's refurbished or new. What I found with the Fire TV was that it would forget it's connected. It sits and it goes into a low power mode, and then so it sits 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then I go to the keyboard and it's no longer available, and I had to turn it off and turn it back on for it to get reconnected to the Bluetooth on the Fire Stick. That was the only sticking part I had with it.
So, Scott, where do I find in the menus with the Fire Stick that it'll hook to a Bluetooth?
If you go into your settings, and actually you can search for settings, but if you go up to the top menu and go all the way over to settings, then in settings there's a device settings. I wish I had the stick in front of me right now because I could tell you the actual language. But there's a section in there for devices. And that's where you connect your Bluetooth mouse, keyboard, whatever it might be, speaker. You can Bluetooth a speaker too.
Okay, I'll find it. Thanks.
Yeah.
So hey, Scott,
Yeah, Linda.
I have a Logitech K400 Plus, and mine's only like $20. Does the same thing yours does.
Does the 400 have an illuminated keyboard?
No.
That's what it doesn't do. You can't use it in the dark.
What do I need to use it in the dark for? I'm not having sex in the living room.
Linda, I am not a sex therapist. I don't know how to help you with that. What I can tell you in my relationship, I need a keyboard that works in the dark.
I'm not sure if this
we're just going to leave
is
it there,
the high
okay?
point of the meeting, or is this the low point of the meeting? We're not sure.
My relationship needs a keyboard that works in the dark. I'm sorry.
Anyway, if you don't want to spend that much, you can buy the K400 Plus.
I like the 400 as well. The 400's a great keyboard.
Yeah.
The 400 also uses AA batteries though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
And everything.
I'm really disappointed that Logitech doesn't make more of these 830s because it has a built-in battery like a cell phone. The battery lasts for months. You plug it in, it charges the keyboard in an hour, and then it's charged for like 60 days. You can use it without having to worry about plugging it in again. It's illuminated. I like the 400, especially the price point on the K400. Like Linda said, what is it? $40, $30?
$20.
$20. I don't think I've seen it that cheap, but that's a great price if you can find it at that price.
Run it all the time for $20.
Yeah, it's a great keyboard. I like the illumination.
The only thing I tell people is when you're not using it, make sure you turn it off. And like everything down in Mexico, you need to check your batteries all the time because they'll always get corroded.
Yeah, see, these are also reasons that I like this K830, is because it's always on and ready to go. It's always ready to light up. I just touch a button on it and the keyboard lights up. And if it ever drains in batteries, I just plug it in and charge it like a cell phone. But unlike a cell phone, I don't have to do that every day. I do that like every 60 days, maybe longer.
Well, with the K400, the batteries last a half a year or more.
But like you said, you want to make sure you turn it off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to make sure you turn it on.
We're still talking about Fire Sticks. I wanted to report something. I had forgotten I wanted to. I think maybe it was last week. I was talking about the 4K stick not working in Mexico for Amazon Prime. And I discovered with a customer that their 4K stick was working. So something has changed in Amazon, and these 4K sticks now can go international. And I had not checked my stick until I had this experience with my customer. I came home, ran through the menu, everything works. My Mexican content, because I have a Mexican Prime account, is all coming through my 4K stick. And that was not happening before. That was not happening 4 months ago. But now I can go to my stick. What was happening 4 months ago or earlier is that the Amazon device would tell me it's not in the correct region. And when I talked to Amazon about the issue, they'd say, yeah, the device is region coded. It's not going to work outside the United States. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a Fire Stick International, which was actually just the very first Fire Stick they ever made, and the only Fire Stick that was being sold in Mexico. That international version was the version you were intended to buy if you were going to carry this equipment across the border. Well, now that's all been loosened up. It's probably part of their new line of Fire Sticks, because they have a new international stick and they have a new Fire Stick 4K. But as a side effect of their new line, these 4K sticks are now working with your Amazon service in Mexico. So if you don't have Amazon Prime Mexico and you do have Amazon Prime in your home country, well, that content available to watch abroad is available to watch abroad. You can take your 4K stick with you and watch it abroad. But if
4K stick?
the Fire Stick 4K, it's a typical. You had the 5K. No, I'm sorry. I'm doing tongue twisters now. The Amazon Fire Stick. The Amazon Fire Stick 4K. Those are two different products. They look slightly similar because they're a stick that you plug into the back of your TV. But if you hold them up close, you'll see a build quality that's different, a logo that's different on it. And the Fire Stick would work in Mexico for Amazon content. The 4K, up until recently, would work for everything you could imagine to use in your Netflix, your web browser, whatever you happen to add to it, Streamio. It would work just fine in Mexico. But the Amazon content would not work on it in Mexico. It would work in the United States, wouldn't work in Mexico. Is that clear?
So, Bill, what did we buy?
We have a Fire Stick 4K.
And so up until recently, and I don't know how recent because I only discovered this last weekend or the weekend before last with my customer. But recently, I can say within the last 4 months, that device is now available to use in whatever country you take it to. Well, I'm assuming that because it's working in Mexico.
Scott?
Yes. With Amazon content.
I don't know if you've been I don't think you've been paying attention. We are nowhere as close to goddamn Mexico.
Yeah, you should be fine. It's going to work for you, Bill.
When I get there.
Yeah, when
I get there, it'll be out of date.
That's right. I was going to say, when you get here, you're going to be bringing down the 8K stick, and they will be discontinuing the 4K stick.
Exactly. They won't even support it.
Oh, okay, so now all we need to buy is one of those Star Trek transporters and get there, right?
That's right.
If the transport us, then it'll be worth it.
There was a sci-fi show that I used to watch that the transporter, it was really interesting. You would transport into a temporary body. I'm sorry, if you're seeing me frozen, I'm trying to restart my camera because I'm seeing myself freeze. It was the most unusual. Oh, I'm getting a visitor. Hello. Oh, it's BB. Hey, BB's up. What are you doing? Ah, all right. She's getting snacks out of the fridge out here. Good morning. Say hi to the group.
Hi.
Oh, I don't know if they can even see you. I'm having problems with my camera all of a sudden.
No, we can't see her. We
Hold
can
on.
hear you. Can't see you.
There we go. There she is.
Hi. Oh,
There's the camera right there.
hi.
Morning. Good morning.
Hello from your grandparents.
Hey, you didn't get to hear that, BB, but Tata just said hello. You know, Tata's on.
Hi, Tata.
Hi, BB. Nice to see you. Good looking outfit.
He likes your hoodie.
Oh, be careful. She shouldn't cross the street with a hoodie on. Did you know?
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen my street, but there's just cows across it. Or horses. We've been dealing with we belong to this Ranchitos neighborhood committee group on WhatsApp. And we now have this ritual in the Ranchitos of warning each other when the horses have been let loose. Because they come across and they get into everybody's trash. And our trash, I mean, it's a combination of these horses are just bored, and our trash isn't getting picked up regularly. And so trash cans sit out for a couple of days because they didn't show up when they were supposed to show up. And so while they've been sitting out, the horses will be left to open range and get it, and we'll just have trash everywhere. And so,
Hey,
yeah.
Scott.
Yes.
Scott, where are the horses coming from?
Diane, they're coming from the ranch back here behind Loma del Mar. And she's in the group. This isn't the proper venue for me to vent my hostilities. She's a good friend too. I've known her for years. I've got no problems with the people that have horses. It's just that we need some better coordination, and we had it for a while there. It's like don't let them out on Mondays. Mondays is trash day, but Mondays isn't trash day anymore because we live in Mexico, and occasionally Mondays is trash day. But it was supposed to be Mondays and Thursdays, and it was religious. Mondays and Thursdays are trash days. And then Mondays stopped being trash days. Who knows why? And now Thursdays sometimes is trash days. So
Gotcha.
It's not, we live in an open range state. I'm okay with that. I like when my kids were little, they used to get so excited the horses would just show up out of the blue, eating in the field right behind their bedroom. Thought that was cool. But this coordination between when trash needs to be picked up and the idea that animals are roaming just aimlessly in the ranchitos, it's become a rubbing point, a friction point in San Carlos, at least out here in the ranchitos.
Well, Valley, we got javelinas.
Oh, yeah.
Bobcats. The bobcats go across our roofs.
Wow.
The javelinas get in the garbage. The other night, our garbage gets picked up here on Thursday. My husband had to go out yesterday. The garbage was all over the street. So same thing.
Yeah.
And that's in Arizona, Linda?
Yeah.
Have you tried to talk to the owner of the javelinas to see if they could keep them in? No, I'm just kidding. Could you corral your javelinas, please? Did you?
The other thing we've seen about the ranchitos is there's a development of a complex of apartments or something.
Oh, this scares us. This is right around the corner from us. This could have easily been our street. But in a neighborhood area, we're on I. This is happening up on F. We're on I and First. They're in between First and Second on F. And it's quite literally a large property, one home, one family, and another large property, one home, one family. Mm-hmm. And in between those two properties, they're putting in 28 units.
Oh, my God.
Like 2 stories or
I can only assume they're going to be 2 stories because when you look at this lot, it is full. It is just full. And it just popped up out of nowhere. Just one day they started building this thing long before the neighbors knew what was going on. And we've been kind of quietly watching to see what happens because these things happen, like cutting the road into the side of the Teticawis, putting developments all along the there just isn't anything protected around here. There's no zoning. There's environmentally protected places. They keep trying to develop out in the estuary. They tried putting zip lines up. The same people that are the same government agency that's supposed to be protecting the environment is also in charge of tourism. So they have a conflict of interest when it comes to things like zip lines and trails and kayaks. It's it's just really bizarre. And I don't think there's going to be any satisfaction out of this that happens around the corner. Maybe they'll be lucky. Maybe they'll figure out a way to stop it legally. But I doubt it. Just from what I've seen in the 20 years I've lived here, I bet there's going to be 20 units in between their properties on this residential road. And maybe at best we'll be able to find a precedence to stop it from happening in other places.
Well, they built that, I don't know, it was supposed to be 2 stories, then it ended up being 5 or something, in the Via Hermosa. and they got stop work, and then they'd start up again. It went on for what, about 3 years, past 3 years.
The successfully stopped. Oh, go ahead, Linda. What was that?
You know what's happened to Irving?
No.
They just built this 8-unit apartment house 2 feet from their house.
I know where Irving lives. That's one of the places that I'm talking about when we're talking about the Tetakawis, is that it's just was surprising to me when they opened all that up for building. So it's all along the Tetakawis right there at the bottom. But then what you're saying, Linda, makes perfect sense. Why couldn't they do that? There's no zoning. They could put an apartment building right there next to Irving.
Well, the thing is that she now looks out her kitchen window right into the brick wall.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's terrible. And there's no parking, and they're going to be parking all over the street.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that. I wasn't aware they had. I wasn't aware they were constructing anything next to Irving, let alone that it's at a completion level, that there's a wall in front of them. Yes.
And it's about, the building is maybe, I don't know, how far, Bill? 2 feet?
Is it behind them, beside them, or in front of them?
Right next to them.
Next door to them.
Yeah, you know where he lives.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, right to the left of him.
As I'm facing his
In that
house.
little tiny lot.
Yeah.
They've built. And they've got a pool in the middle. So you know how loud it's going to be.
Yeah, well, and this is a country and a state where it's very capitalistic. You have a right to build. You have a right to open businesses. I suspect it comes from that mentality. There isn't this zoning mentality. There's this right to work mentality.
Mm.
Anyway, we digress off of computer topics, and we are kind of reaching the end of our meeting. Does anybody have any other topics they would like to add? Recommendations they would like to add? Any gossip they would like to add?
I heard something about sex in a dark room. I don't know what that was all about.
It's not dark.
With
I got a keyboard.
You're too funny.
I'm thinking we need some clarification here. No.
It only gets strange when we
Scott.
switch languages.
Okay, Scott, you just be careful with your darkened room keyboard and not pulling, what is it, a Tobin?
Tobin, what's that?
A tubin.
A Tubin?
Well, that's the guy that started playing with himself on a Zoom meeting when he thought the camera was on.
Oh. Boy, we're
Very
sure.
sad, too. He's one of my favorite legal analysts.
We're sure having our share of those kinds of stories.
Well, it does come with the Zoom territory.
I have run out of topics. What else do I have?
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah. I'm
That's never
disappointed in
happened.
myself. What else do I have here? We talked about the Justice Department. None of you people are doing NFL streaming, so that's not a good question.
There was something on our news about the Canadian government, the Canadian newscasters, I guess it was, have brought a case against Google and Facebook, and saying that they should be paying their portion or something in regards to news stories. I'm not sure what it's all about. Anyways, it was just on the news last night, so I'll look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It's interesting to hear how different countries deal with internet and the distribution of entertainment media in general, like music, video, news, books. I could swear back in the day, they were having problems with piracy in Canada, and that's when they came up with this general tax for musicians, and it pays out kind of like you're part of a union as a performer, and they send you subsidies that are collected in the form of a tax on your ISP. Cheryl, I see you got a confused look on your face, but I remember this distinctly, very Canadian approach to dealing with privacy, or I'm sorry, piracy. Sorry.
Piracy, yeah. Well, I know that, like, I belong to a couple of performance arts groups where we bring in performers, and there is a tax that we pay, so that then it goes back to the people whose music you are playing or being performed.
I remember this being in contrast to liability legislation, where you'd have to track down the person that was sharing music, or if they were receiving the shared music. Instead of punishing that person, they just tacked a tax onto the ISP and then distributed equally what they collected amongst everyone in the entertainment union. And so if you were registered as an entertainer in Canada, it didn't matter your status, you'd get a check for pennies every month.
Yeah, pennies.
I've got a musician friend up here that calls it the cover band tax.
Right.
Oh, really, Sid? You're familiar with this?
Just a little bit. It's like when a big name artist here in the States will go, well, you can't play that song because it uses these beats that are mine. It kind of clears up that whole legal mess out of the justice system.
In Canada.
So, yeah, it's like every band wants to play Led Zeppelin. Well, they can play Led Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin's like, damn it, it's in Canada. We'll get a check eventually out of the tax.
That's right. You don't have. I mean, that's interesting that it might affect it that way. But basically, the way it was, so they didn't have to go after people that were pirating music. They went after the ISPs, saying these people, you're paying a tax on all this. It's part of, pass it on to your customers. So your customers are paying a higher internet fee than they normally would. But the normal is to pay that fee like any other. I mean, if Telmex came to you and said you're paying $35 instead of $30, you'd just pay it. And you wouldn't be any wiser that the $5 was going to the entertainment union, because there's so many people sharing music. And then you create this culture of people sharing music without any fear of getting in repercussions.
Yeah. That's probably included our cable fees and stuff, because we pay a lot for our internet and for our cable TV.
Yeah.
Way more than other countries. And the same thing with our cell phone data and stuff like that. So we pay a lot.
I'll try and find an article about it, because I remember I was really involved in all that information at the time it was happening. And I would imagine it was a political point, and there's controversy and debate, and that's the reason I was aware of it. And then they settled in on the new norm, and now it's easily forgotten about. And
yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I suspect that if we're looking at this correctly, that you guys are not under any kind of concern for streaming movies and music from illicit sources there in Canada, simply because there is a tax being paid so that you don't have a problem doing those things, so that you don't have to think about whether it's legal or not.
Yeah.
Which, if it is the case, that is shaping culture, which is interesting. It's changing the culture of things. In Mexico, they're doing the streaming. It's considered illicit, and they're fine with it. And in Canada, they weren't fine with it, and so they put a tax on it. Have we got any other topics we'd like to bring up? I got fire sticks. Oh, this is all from today. I got some holding topics. Please shout out if you got anything you think might be interesting. I think
Scott?
Oh, yes, Bill.
Since we've become a smart home, we have Alexa kicking around in here. I just bought from Costco the little smart outlet, but this is an energy. What do you call it? It monitors the amount of energy that you're using
through the outlet.
I got it plugged into it. Yeah, through the outlet itself monitors. You go on your app on the iPhone, and you can see how much energy you're using at any time.
Oh my gosh, Bill! You should have started the hour with that. What it's called? What's it called?
CE Smart Home. That's the brand name. Energy monitoring outlet.
Those have been around for a while. My boss was using one on his trailer. He had it plugged into the building that our office was in, and then we just subtract that from the bill that the state paid for the electricity.
Well, that's awesome. And in that form, using an app is what I'm really excited about. And what you're talking about is something you could pull out, plug something in, and see how much energy is being used and record. You're seeing it on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
like I've got it plugged in our entryway. It doesn't have enough heat in there, so I got it plugged in to a one of those little floor heater things.
Yeah.
And it tells me how much it's costing me each day to use that. And if I set it, I can change the thermostat on the heat unit itself and see what difference it makes.
Okay, so I'll see you guys next week. I'm on my way to Amazon right now.
Costco, $20.
We got them at Costco.
2 of them package.
That is awesome. I think I would want one of those in my toolkit bag so that if I had a questionable appliance, I could just pull it out of my toolkit bag, plug it in, and see what it uses as far as electricity.
Exactly.
But just in general, that would be a great thing to have.
Well, in
for
general,
anybody.
It's a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah. Yeah, especially we've been trying very hard to lighten our electrical use here in Mexico, and that would be a great tool to help sort out what kind of appliances are sucking electricity.
Yeah, well, and then you just look up how much you're paying for a kilowatt hour, and you can tell how much it's costing you.
Yeah, that's right. See, now you've screwed it up for my for the women in my house, because I'm going to buy one and stick it on the hairdryer.
Exactly.
Better watch it. They could plug something that you use all the time into it too.
Like that hairdryer is my nemesis. You can plug almost everything I do in and compare it to the hairdryer.
Yeah, well, anytime you're generating heat with electricity, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you go through the list of appliances you have in your house and how much electricity they use, it's hard to beat that hairdryer. The hairdryer takes so much wattage compared to everything else.
Well, and you've got 2 teenagers in your house that are concerned about that.
Oh my gosh, all 3 of them. My wife as well. She's got hair all the way down to her belly button. They're all 3 of them are the same way. They've got hair down their chest. But I've made such a big deal about the hairdryer. Now they use it with much caution.
Okay, well, there you go. I don't know if they're available. I never looked on Amazon to see if they're there. They must be.
I don't see that name brand available, but not in Mexico at least. Let me see if they're available in the U.S. I love it when I find it on some place like Amazon. Then I don't have to go anywhere to get it.
Yeah.
Smart Home is a website with all kinds of products.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, they have a lot of products.
Oh, here we go. They are in the States. On Amazon in the States.
No, in Canada, they're there.
Yeah, but I'm not in Canada.
Well, lucky you.
plane.
Keep talking, Bill. You'll be bringing me a gross down across the border.
What are all these things? Oh, well, I'd like to monitor my energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's a great topic. I'm adding that to my list, and I'm going to do some research on that. And we are at 10:30, so this is probably a good time to wind this meeting down. If anybody has anything else they'd like to add to this meeting, just let me know, because I'm shutting it. Oh, Paul, go ahead.
Okay. On my refrigerator and freezer in Mexico, I have an extension cord from Panamax. And what it does is, if the voltage drops below 90 volts, it shuts off so that you don't have a brownout condition for your refrigerator.
Paul, that's an awesome recommendation. What is that device called?
It's from Panamax, which is in Petaluma, California.
Panamax, and do you know what that product's called? It's an extension cord that'll turn itself off in a low voltage situation.
Low or high voltage, I think, if it goes over 130 or something like that. And plus it protects against spikes,
Spikes, low voltage, high voltage. That sounds like the best of all worlds.
Yeah. I don't know if it's been exercised during the summer, but entirely possible.
Well, that's absolutely something you should recommend plugged into something like a refrigerator or a freezer when you're not going to be here, because those brownouts will burn out a motor.
Yeah. And in Loma Del Mar, occasionally we would lose one leg of electricity, and that would happen.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, I have, at the house in Mexico, I have surge protectors on the microwave, and it has popped the surge protector when we've had like a spike.
Oh, yeah, like a circuit breaker. It popped like a circuit breaker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I normally think the surge protectors are great for your fragile equipment, and the circuit breakers are great, like the multi-taps are great for things that pull a lot of current, like a refrigerator, a microwave, freezer, things like that.
I went to the RCA store in Wymus, and I got a little surge protector for the refrigerator.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because we have such crazy voltage conditions around here.
Yeah. So it's worth it.
Yeah, and it's the fridges. We've talked about it many times in the past, but just the distinguishing between a product that's a surge protector or a circuit breaker is important. The circuit breaker products are not protecting computers, satellite dishes. In those instances, they're more like an extension cord with outlets. They really don't offer you much in the way of protection, because the kinds of devices I'm referring to pull so little power that if you were, like, a microwave is a great example, you turn on the microwave and it pulls enough power that it breaks the circuit breaker, then you're protecting the microwave. But your computer's never going to pull enough power that that circuit breaker is going to do anything for you. By the time you've reached that power level, you've already fried your computer. And I always use the analogy of this is good for a blender, but you don't want to make margaritas next to your computer. So you should never have a blender and a computer plugged into the same circuit. Now, the surge protectors are made up of, it's a device that's made up of a conditioning material. It's kind of like that, the truck safety road when you're going down a hill. That's what a surge protector is for your computer. Is this surge comes in and it goes flying into this material instead of going into your computer, and that material absorbs that surge to protect your equipment. A surge protector has a finite life, and the more it's had to protect your equipment, the less it's ready to protect in the future. And at some point, that surge protector just needs to be tossed and replaced with a new one. Circuit
And
breakers. Oh, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
Of course, if you're using your plugged-in computer in the bathtub, it should be plugged into a GFI.
Yeah, definitely, because you don't want to. You don't want to ground yourself to the floor.
Okay, Scott, I got a comment and then I'm going.
Okay.
You talked about the truck ramps.
Yes.
So Cheryl and I were coming down on a mountain road, and it had about 5 truck ramps on it. So you get an idea what the grade looks like.
Sure.
Runaway ramp.
The runaway lanes. And we came around the corner, and right in the middle of the runaway lane, they always have a nice paved entry into the gravel. There's a little Volkswagen minibus all parked in there, and they've got their little picnic set up, and they're sitting right in the middle of the damn runaway.
Oh my God.
No, they better hope that the guy that picks the one before or after them, because it's going to look like cowboy rodeo poker, if you ever know what that is.
Jeez. Could you imagine a truck out of control just bursting through a picnic lunch?
Well, I think the sandwiches would be on the side of the road by the time he's done.
Well, and the car would be launched into space off of one of those ramps. Could you imagine the tonnage of a semi hitting a car?
Well, can you imagine the language inside each one of those semis that come down around that corner and saw that?
Wow. Yeah, you'd
Anyway,
hope they'd
my
know they
story.
had more options. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Thank you all for being here today. I always enjoy it. I hope you guys do too. We will continue this format for the foreseeable future, for as long as we deem it necessary. If we ever do reach a point where we're feeling comfortable meeting indoors, or we find an outdoor venue where we feel comfortable meeting together, we'll try and provide a virtual format as well. But I can't imagine it's going to be as personal as this is. It's so nice to see all your faces and be able to hear everybody's voices and not to be yelling over each other over a table, trying to hear each other at the other end. So we will see you next week at the San Carlos Computer Club. If you have computer issues out there, remember I'm Scott from International Computer Solutions, and you can reach me that easily. Just send an email to scott@internationalcs.net, and I'd be happy to help you with your computer issues anywhere on the internet. And until next week, you all tech on.
Goodbye from Scott's parents. If any of you have trouble with Scott, just give us a call.
Hey, now wait a second. Goodbye, Pop. See you, Sid.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Later, Scott.
See you next week or sooner.
Goodbye, Sid.
Take it easy, Terry.
Okay.
Bye, guys. I don't think he made it this week. Adios, adios. Not recording any longer. And we are going to shut this off. Adios, Pop.